Hello again. Good to see you. I'm Linda Rivero, founder of 55 and Bolder. And as you may know, I work with mature women who are struggling with and coming out of a deep loss and wanting to get their sparkle back, wanting to get back their zest for living, their mojo. This is exactly what I help them do. I relate to the struggle. I've been there, I've been through it, and through my own experience and the years following that, I've developed my own system. I realize that there is a system which I put together and it works. It's a wonderful system for moving past the sad stages of grief back into the bright light of fulfillment and happiness and daily excitement and joy. That's what I do. And I would love to help you if you need help in that direction. This week we're going back through these videos. I'm going back to the beginning of this whole process. The beginning is loss. And of course, what goes with loss is grief. We're discussing the stages of grief this week. Yesterday, we talked about the first two stages. Now, these are 5 stages as identified by psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. They are not the only stages that can be indicated. There are different frameworks that exist. Hers I mentioned because it's very well known and it's pretty universally accurate. So we'll go with what Dr. Kubler-Ross established as the 5 stages of grief. Now, once again, as I mentioned yesterday, if you do see my eyes drifting down, I've made again some notes, and I don't want to forget the points that I want to share with you because they're worthwhile. So yesterday we discussed the first 2 of the 5 stages of grief, and those were first denial that this is even happening. And we talked about how denial is it's a mechanism of our psyche to help us come to terms with the loss. It has its advantages because it kind of buffers us a little bit from the shock of losing this loved one or loved thing. I mean, a job, a home, or a pet that we love. And I talked about how my own experience absolutely reverberated with denial, and I didn't even realize it when I was in the middle of it. And you may be able to relate to that yourself. Maybe you've had an experience that's similar. And then following denial, we talked about the emotion of anger, where we're angry. And we talked about the benefits of anger. That too can help shield us in our interactions with others. It's easier to express anger that this happened, anger that this person passed away, rather than express how frightening it is to us or how vulnerable we may feel. If we tell somebody, I'm so mad that I lost him, or I'm so mad that treatment didn't work. That's easy for someone else to understand. So I can appreciate that. Whereas if we talk about our fear and I don't know what's going to happen next, may be a lot harder for others to relate to, and it may be scary for them to really deal with our vulnerability. But at the same time, anger has its drawbacks because our anger can, in fact, alienate others as well, therefore isolating us even more. So it's bumpy either way. Today, I want to talk about the remaining 3 stages of grief, the remaining 3 of the 5. The first one of the 3 being bargaining. The 4th is depression, and the 5th, acceptance. So let's talk about bargaining. Can you relate to this one? I certainly can. Bargaining. We imagine that we can actually make a deal with God or our higher power, whatever that is for us. I promise I'll be a better person if you just let him live. I promise I'll never fight with him again if you just make this treatment work. I swear, God, I swear I'll be the best mom ever if you just make my son get over losing his dad. I promise I'll do better. We have our imagination driving us to think that we really can make a deal to ease our pain. And inevitably, sooner or later, we eventually come to the moment where we realize, I have no control over this. I have no control. And that's when we realize how human we are. That's when we realize we're really pretty helpless. There's not much we can do. Death is death. When it's over, it's over. No matter how much we may fight and yell and scream and bargain and swear, I promise I'll do this, I promise I'll do that. Ultimately, we realize it's to no avail. We have no control. And we realize that we are helpless. We realize that we are mortal. It's so natural to want to redo the things we did in our past or redo the things we said in our past. It's so natural. Oh, I wish, those are the last words I said to him and they were so mean. How could I have done that? It's so natural to have those regrets. But we have to learn to live with them. There's nothing we can do. It's over. So eventually bargaining gives way to a sense of realness, reality. And then we may be hit with depression. Sooner or later, it hits us. He's gone. She's gone. It's gone. My home is gone. My career is gone. Sooner or later, we're forced to come to terms because it's a permanent loss. And then we really start to feel the depth of true loss. It's so likely that we can withdraw at that point. It's so depressing to us. We're depressed. It's so sad. We don't want to get up in the morning. We don't want to open the blinds. We don't want to pick up the phone when it rings. I was there. I was there. Absolutely. There were many months. I spoke to my children because I had to. I mean, I loved them, but that was kind of the limit. And one good friend that I had, but I was really withdrawn. I couldn't talk. I didn't want to answer the phone and I didn't want to dial the phone. I just didn't. I ultimately became quite isolated, which is natural if you do that. And when we withdraw and get really, really sad and miserable inside, we isolate ourselves. And that, of course, can be really, really risky and very dark. It's a dark road. I want to emphasize here how important it is. If you are going through this depression that follows loss, or if you know someone or care for someone who is suffering from depression after a deep loss, please help that person to reach out. There are many, many free hotlines for grief, many of them, and they're all across the country, and many are cost free. So if you are in that situation, or if you know someone who is, please help them get some support. Just do a quick online search for grief hotlines in your area, and I guarantee that you will come up with information that you can use and that's valuable. So happily, The story of working our way through grief does not end with depression. Thank goodness. The final stage is acceptance. We have finally worked through our denial, our anger, our bargaining, our depression. And we finally have come to the point where we realize the person, the place, the thing that we lost is gone. We no longer continue to resist. We come to terms with the fact that it's gone. Doesn't mean that we feel great. We may feel very, very sad. We may feel deep regret. There are things that I still regret 10 years later, but I accept it. We no longer resist. It's very important for us to understand that during the process, regarding the process of grieving, there is no timetable. You know, some people can work through all of this in a matter of weeks. Other people can take years. I took a good while. It certainly wasn't weeks, and it wasn't just months. It was a good while. The important thing is that it's different. It's different for every one of us. And if it is you, if you are the person going through this process now, please be kind to yourself. I know that can be very hard to do, but it's so important to be accepting and to be kind for yourself, and so important to take the time that you need. Just, you must, because in one way or another, you will be forced to, by your own psyche, your own being. You'll be forced to take the time you need. So how much better to recognize that that's a need, and be as accepting of the process and accepting of yourself as you can. And then, of course, how important it is to seek support, to seek help. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about what happens after these 5 stages, after grieving, when we begin to emerge from the grieving process and move toward life again, move toward the light, move toward what's next. That's what we'll talk about next. But until then, we are talking about the stages of loss and grief. And I invite you, I encourage you, please take advantage of the free resource that I would love to share with you. The 7 Soothing Secrets to Happiness for the Mature Woman in Transition. To get your copy of this light and uplifting reading, just send me a private message with the word secrets, and I will see that you get a copy of your 7 Soothing Secrets. I know that you will enjoy them. And also, if you are struggling, moving forward after your loss, I can help you even more than I can beyond the 7 Soothing Secrets. We can get on a phone call, completely complimentary, no cost, no obligation. And in this phone call, we will talk about where you are, where you want to go, and what you need. And I will do is all that I can to help you at this point. There's no obligation to you. This is something that I feel very, very deeply about wanting to do, because I know how important it is, and I know how strong the need can be in a person who is recovering from a loss. This is what I do. I would love to help you get back on track for your own next chapter of happiness and fulfillment. I want to support you as you move forward in your life. So just send me a private message with the words free call, and I will reach out and we'll set up a mutually convenient time to chat. I want to help. In the meantime, thank you very much for being with me today. I will see you again tomorrow when we will begin to discuss the road back from grieving to living, which is where we all want to be. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.